Abraham Lincoln had anything to share for us for 2023?
To be patient, it's going to take time. And I'm assuming he means in the division of the country, because we're very divided today, just as we were back during the Civil War. And again, it takes time to mend those hurts. I just keep hearing "be patient" over and over and over again. That's all he's saying to me is just be patient, um, and be patient. That's he just keeps saying be patient. Every time I stop, take a breath, I hear it in my head again. Be patient. Okay, I got it.
It's
Um,
funny. It's funny because for some time, like my ego or like my anxiety expect like so many words, and some it's not that. It's just simple. Sometimes it's just simple. Sometimes it's no words at all. The feeling. Okay, funny. Cause patient is like the temperance card, right? So it's just
yes,
validating what you were hearing. And I got the chariot. The chariot means like that there are movement happening. There are movement happening, but it does require patience. And the two of wands, when I see the two of wands, I see that they're choosing things that make sense for the world, to positivity, rather than looking at like anything as negative. They're working toward not just to unify, to
and in
temperance.
that picture there that you're holding up, if you look at the card, you see water in the background. So that's emotion. That's letting us know that, even though it's not a cups card, which is deals strictly with emotions, you have water, and water represents emotions. So it's not it's an emotional job to reunify. Um, it's not black and white, yes or no, cut and dried type thing. It's very emotional because you have people on one side that are going to have to come to terms with the fact that they've been conned into believing a lie, into believing multiple lies. And that's going to be very, very difficult for them to do. And that will hinder the rejoining of everyone. Then you have those on the other side who it's going to be very important to not take the attitude of, see, I told you so. That
Right.
doesn't
We
help
had that
anybody.
discussion.
That doesn't help anybody at all. That just rubs salt in the wound. And that makes it that much harder. So, it's something that both sides of the aisle have to work on. Most of your regular everyday Republicans are like, we're sick and tired of this nonsense, and we're ready to actually let's get stuff done. And if that means we have to meet across the aisle, then so be it. And you're seeing that more and more, and you're seeing that attitude more and more. But there's still that handful of radical right people who has determined that it's going to be my way or the highway. There's no compromise. And again, this is just my opinion, not necessarily what the cards or anything says. But that's the whole point of being a politician. Is you go to Congress or Senate, whichever branch you're elected to, and while you may have beliefs here, your opponent's going to have beliefs here. Your job is to meet in the middle and decide what's going to be best for the whole, and what am I willing to let go of in order to make that compromise and make it work.
You just said it. The world, the best
Yeah.
for the whole. So the patient makes sense that Lincoln's saying patient, everything you've been saying, because it goes back to I've said in the past. This is a lot of mind game, and they're gonna have that reality check,
Oh yeah.
and we definitely can't do I told you so. So going back to like Wolfga Oracle, she added, hold on, because she wanted to, let's see, show. Okay, I got two of wands and I'm feeling unity. I got the
Yeah.
high priestess and I'm feeling empowerment, and I got 8 of Pent and feeling opportunity. And then she said, overall, I am feeling like it's our choice to unity, and if we choose unity, opportunity will open up for us as a nation. And then she finished with talking to you, Shari, from the swamp. That makes sense because Lincoln lacked resource where the Civil War lasts. He tried to build bridges first and unified.
And he had plans for after the war of reunifying the nation without severe punishments to the South. While he knew that there were some punishments that would have to come about, he was trying to aim it more at just the leadership and not at the regular everyday people who just did what their leaders told them to do. Um, Granted, that doesn't excuse you from doing anything wrong, but again, that's that mentality. You get sucked into that cult like mentality of follow the leader, whatever the leader tells you to do. And so, in some respects, you're kind of not responsible for doing what you've been told to do because we've all been brought up and had it pushed in our brains. You do what those who are in charge tell you to do, whether if it's your mama, your daddy, your boss, your president, your congressman, whatever. Um, but because he was killed before he was able to implement a lot of his plans to reunify the country, um, there was a lot of really harsh decisions that were made after the fact that really isolated the South and really made it to where people in the South never truly gave up on what they fight. I mean, there's still people down here to this day who talk about the Civil War as the war of Northern aggression. It's like, excuse me, no, that's not what happened. But just like there are others that would try to tell you it had nothing to do with slavery. Yeah, it kind of did. It was about the right to own people, and people can't be owned. Um, Again, it was that making someone different, turning them into the other, so that it's easier to vilify them if they're not seen as human. Um, you have the KKK even today that does that. They turn, people of color, regardless of whatever color it is, um, they manage to isolate it to say that isolated in such a way that I'm trying to pick my words carefully here. If we can make another group appear guilty of causing all the issues and at the same time make them appear to not be human, then it's much easier to otherize them and to fight a war against them. Hitler did it with the Jews. I mean, that didn't happen overnight. That was years in the making of starting with the children on up and isolating out the mentally ill, isolating out um, LGBTQ people, um,
Yep.
isolating out anybody that didn't believe the way he said you needed to believe, and turning them into the other, because then it's easier to isolate them and make them the cause for what your problem is. Here in the South, it was, yeah, you may be poor, but you're not black and poor. So you got one up on them. It's like, what kind of mentality is that? Poor is poor. It doesn't matter what color you are. Um, if you're not getting paid a decent wage, you're not getting paid a decent wage. The fact that you dumb down the populace
Yes.
so that they don't have the ability to think outside the box. They don't know how to approach an issue without having to raise a fist and fight about it.